where 3 weeks ago, where did Krishna Ben finish her? At what point did Krishna Ben finish the Mahabharat? Okay, I'll tell you what. When someone asks a question and you have to answer, stand up so I can hear you. My bad. Tell me. They escaped the wax palace, and then after that, does anyone remember? What happened? What happened? Who did Arjun? What did Arjun win? What did he win? He won property. Yes, very true. Very, very good. And then, so Draupadi was taken back by the Pandavas to their mother. And and when Arjun or Yudhishthir approached Kunti, what did they say to her? They said, "We've won something." And what did Kunti say to the Pandavas? Yes, Nana, right? Share it between you. 1 wife, 5 husbands. Is that where Krishna Ben finished? Yes? Do we remember? No? Yes? Okay, right. I think that's where she finished. Okay. So, everyone comfortable? Yes? Everyone paying attention? So, Draupadi was then married to the 5 Pandavas. Okay? She was married to the 5 Pandavas. And they returned back to Hastinapur. Now, back at Hastinapur, everyone made fun of the Pandavas, and more so, they made fun of Draupadi. Why? Because it was very peculiar, it was very weird for a lady to be married to 5 husbands. Normally it happens the other way. One husband has 5 wives, 6 wives, 7 wives, 8 wives. That's what used to happen in those days. But this was the other way around. This was 1 wife between 5 brothers. And, like I say, a lot of people made fun of them, especially the Kauravas. And more so, Duryodhana, Dushasan, which was Duryodhana's younger brother, and Karna. So, they had to accept what was done, but between So, between the 5 Bhaios, they had decided that they will spend equal time with Draupadi. So, one brother will have X amount of weeks, the other brother will have X amount of weeks, the other, and so on and so forth. Okay? But, unfortunately, Arjun he broke the pact that they had made, that they would spend so many weeks with Draupadi. And as a result, he had to leave Hastinapur. Okay? He had to leave Hastinapur, and he went into exile for a while. Okay? Now, while he was in exile, he then fell in love with another woman. That woman's name was Subhadra. What was her name? Subhadra. Good. Okay. Now, this is the other interlinking thing. She was the half-sister of Krishna Bhagavan. And what was Krishna Bhagavan's brother's name? Does anyone remember? Balaram. So she was the half-sister of Krishna Bhagavan and Balaram. Okay? This is a very, very important bit. Okay? Because later on, Arjun and Subhadra have a son called Abhimanyu. Okay, but that's very, very later on. I want you to remember that. Okay? So they had a son called Abhimanyu. Okay? So, going back to the story now. So, when the Pandavas returned to Hastinapur with Draupadi, Duryodhana was still very, very jealous, very, very upset because of how much love the Pandavas got and how well they were doing. And he spoke to his father, the king, Dhritarashtra, and he said to him, this is not fair. The king, you are the king, I am your son, therefore the kingdom should be mine, no one else's. That's being very greedy, isn't it? Yeah, that's not very nice. But he demanded that the Pandavas be kicked out of Hastinapur and be gone. But Dhritarashtra couldn't do that because he felt he had a duty to take care of Pandu's sons. So what they decided was they would split the kingdom in two. Okay? They split the kingdom in two. Okay? And this is the name of the kingdom that the Pandavas got. It's called Khanda, so Khandavprastha. Khandavprastha. Okay? And within there, they've made their headquarters, okay, and the name of their headquarters was Indraprastha. Okay? And the way they got that is by Yudhishthira. He had to do a special puja, he did so many things, but Indraprastha became very, very, very successful. People loved living there, absolutely loved living there. In fact, people from the other half of Hastinapur, which is what Duryodhana was in charge of, people wanted to go from there to Indraprastha because it was so nice. It was very, very prosperous. Business was doing well. People were happy. Much, much more happy. Again, who do you think didn't like this? Duryodhana. Again, very, very, very jealous. Extremely jealous. Anyway, after a while, the Pandavas decided they wanted to come and see Bhishma. They wanted to come and see Dhritarashtra and Vidur. Just to say hello, pranam, whatever, just to, be with them because they miss them. When someone's older in your family, you go and see them because you miss them. So they went and they spent a few days there. And then imagine this whole area is the courtyard. Okay. Now in this area, this is where all these sort of floor is. And if you take one step further, this was where there was a little like a little lake going through the kingdom. Okay, just here. So it's very, very, very shallow. And up here is where people could look down and see everything. Okay? Now, there was one day that Draupadi must have been upstairs. She must have been up there, and she must have been yelling at she must have been talking to someone on this side. Okay? She must have been yelling to someone on this side, saying, will you come upstairs and help me? We don't know what that conversation was. But at that same point, Duryodhana came along. Okay? Now, what was wrong with Duryodhana's father? What was his weakness? What was wrong with him? He was blind. So, Duryodhana saw Draupadi up there, and he forgot that the water was along here. So he started walking, and he fell. He fell into the water. Now, if someone falls into the water, we think it's a bit funny, don't we? If they don't get hurt, it's just a laugh, we all think it's funny. Draupadi did the same thing. She started laughing at Duryodhana. And she said, these were her words. From up there, she goes, look at Duryodhana, like father, like son. Both are blind, both can't see. Like father, like son, both are blind, both can't see. Now, how do you think Duryodhana felt after that? Really, really sad and angry and like he wanted to do something really bad. Really, really bad. And he wanted to get revenge. He really wanted to get revenge. And kicked Draupadi out, kicked all the Pandavas out, and ruled the whole of Hastinapur by himself. So, a few weeks ago, did Krishna mention anything about Duryodhana's father? She must have, right? She must have, sorry. Beginning with Shakuni. Do you remember? Yeah? So, Shakuni was Duryodhana's mama. Okay? And Shakuni had magic dice. These dice were made from the bones of his dead grandfather. Okay? So made from the bones of his dead grandfather. And whenever he used the dice, he would always be able to make sure it goes in his favor. So if I roll a dice, how many numbers, what's the maximum number on one dice? 6. So if you have two dice, how many do you have? What's the maximum number? 12. Whenever he wanted, if you rolled it, he would always be able to get 12. If you wanted 10, he'd always be able to get 10. If you wanted 3, he'd always be able to get 3. He had that power over the dice. Duryodhana approached Shakuni and said, Mama, I want revenge. I want Hastinapur. I want to get rid of the Pandavas. Shakuni was thinking, how can we do this? So he thought, why don't we invite the Pandavas for a game of Chosa. Okay? C-H-U-C-E-R, which is a game of dice, effectively. But when you play this game, each team has to bet something. So if I was playing against you, I would say, okay, I bet my house keys, for example. Okay? And if you win my house keys. You don't get my house, you get my keys. Okay? So, they invited Yudhishthir and the rest of the Pandavas to come and play the game. Now, when you invite someone like this, it's very rude for the opposite side to say no. So Yudhishthir agreed. So, imagine, this was the big courtyard, big courtyard. We had kings and princes from all over. And then, up here, were where Bhishma was sat, Vyasa was sat, Vidura was sat, Kripacharya was sat, and all the other sages. Okay? They were all sat here. So they started playing. Initially, Nanabai, hand down please. Initially, the Pandavas were winning. They won small things. And they thought, wow, we're doing really, really well. Let's continue. Then, Shakuni started playing his tricks. And the Pandavas started to lose. They lost their land. They lost their kingdoms. Yudhishthir didn't have anything else to bet. So, he decided he was going to bet his brothers. Now, if he loses, that means the Pandavas would then be the slaves of the Kauravas. So they roll the dice, they're playing the game, and it's very, very even throughout the whole thing. One final roll of the dice. The Pandavas lost. The Duryodhana won. So, the Pandavas became the slaves of the Kauravas. We thought, okay, they thought that's it. No more. They can't do anymore. No way. Yudhishthir then said, I have one more thing I can bet. And he called it a thing. What do you think he bet next? What do you think he bet next?
His life.
Not his life. Anyone else?
His wife.
His wife. Draupadi. So, playing the game. Playing the game. Good couple of hours it took. One final roll of the dice. The Pandavas lost. Draupadi, she didn't know anything about this. She was sat in her room and they lost. The Pandavas, the Yudhishthira lost the bet. He lost the game and Draupadi was to become the Kaurav's maid, another slave. Duryodhana then demanded that Draupadi come out, but she refused to. So, Dushasan went to get Draupadi. How many of you have really, really nice long hair? Really nice long hair. So, I'm not going to do it, okay? But this is, stand up please. So imagine Draupadi's hair was all the way down. Dushasan went into the room, grabbed the hair like this, and dragged her. Pulled her all the way. Up to, not even just pulling, none of it sit down. He dragged her all the way on the floor, all the way across into the courtyard where the game was being where the game was being played. And then Dushasan wanted to make sure that Draupadi got into the clothes of a maid, of a slave. So he started, she had a really nice red sari on, and he started to pull the sari. And she was turning round, turning round, turning round, turning round. Each turn that she took Krishna Bhagwan's name. Each turn she took Krishna Bhagwan's name. Krishna Bhagwan appeared from out of nowhere and protected Draupadi. You would think that a sari, once you started unraveling it, it would come to an end. No, it just kept on getting longer and longer, longer and longer and longer. Until so long, it basically covered 100 of these walls. Dushasan was tired, he couldn't pull anymore. Enough! Krishna Bhagwan said, enough! How dare you try and do that to a lady? How dare Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Vidur, Kripacharya, how dare you just look on and not do anything about this? I want a resolution to this now. What happens next, I'll tell you next week.